Hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing this morning? Good morning. Can you help me confirm that you can see my screen and you can hear me very, very clearly? If you can do that, please just type in hi in the comment section and let's get the party started. Hey, 359, good morning. Glad to have you around. Oh, hey, Carrie, good morning. Oh, that's great. Thank you very much, Carrie. Hashitaka, good morning. V1208, hi, how are you? Bali, hi. Good morning. Uh, okay, it's good we're on the same page. So, okay, thank you very much, 359. So let's move on. Let's get started. So I welcome you once again to yet another promising session of Extra and Speed Life, hosted by my humble self, Sheriff Daramola. As usual, I will be taking you on a trading journey where we shall be evaluating the financial market using various technical parameters to identify trading opportunities lining up for us today. The New York session is about a couple of hours away, so we want to look at how well our peers have done so far. That is, the peers we deliberated on yesterday. We want to see how well they are doing. We took about 5 peers, and we're going to be looking at how well these peers are doing. What is going to be our plans against the New York session today, and if you have any pair you want us to look at, please feel free to drop it in the comment section so that I can include it in my plan for today. So without further ado, let's dive into the chart and let's see what is happening. Give me a moment, please. So here on the US oil, what do we have here? Well, remember what our expectations were yesterday. We were actually on a very strong demand zone. If you look at the structure we have here on the higher time frame, on the daily time frame, we were able to identify this strong demand area at around the $89 area, 89, $88 area, which has held price supported in the past. And this from this point, we saw a bullish momentum in the past. And what happened during the course of the later part of last week trading session week, we have price right around that demand zone. And because we have price around that demand zone, we we are not going to be um, we're not going to be in a rush, as we want to see how price is supposed to relate with that level. So that was what our that was our scenario yesterday. And one thing we discovered during the course of yesterday's session, we were around this point here, and we said this bullish trend line will be our guide. And what we were expecting yesterday was a breakout of this neckline, and then we were expecting price to do a retest of structure, after which we want to join the bullish momentum. Now, what happened during the course of yesterday's trading session? We saw the breakout very well, and price came back to do a retest of structure. And one thing that happened here, if we scale down to the 5 minutes time frame, or the probably your we saw multiple rejections of that level and we took that move, but unfortunately price went the opposite side, hereby taking us out of that position. So on the US oil, we are on a loss at this point in time, and the other scenario we were expecting was that if the bullish momentum fails to hold, then a breakdown of that bullish trend line will probably give us a signal that we are going to be on a downtrend scenario. And so right now, in the last 24 hours, we have witnessed that breakdown of that demand zone, which also shares a confluence with the bullish trend line we identified yesterday. And so since we had that breakdown, since we had the breakdown of the bullish trend line here, a retest of structure should give us further confirmation that we are going bearish on this one. So how do we intend taking advantage of any bearish momentum here? Mind you, remember we are still in a very strong demand zone, but the reason why we are thinking of a bearish momentum here is simply because of this breakdown of structure. And being a technical student, we want to respect our technical structures. And if we see price breakdown of a structure, what do we expect? We expect price to do a retracement back to test the structure. So we are waiting right now. We can see what happened since yesterday, and we can see how price has continued to find higher highs and higher low. So what I'm suggesting at this point, what I'm thinking at this point is that this move that we have been experiencing in the last 12 to 15 hours is likely going to be a retracement phase that will lead into a retest of structure. So where is our structure here? Now, if we look at the what happened since the beginning of the week, since I think since on the 5th of August, we can see our price consolidated around this area. This is a structure here before we saw the breakdown of that structure. So I'm expecting price to come back into that structure. And how do we know that price is back into the structure, and how do we know when to enter the trade? Well, what we are going to be looking forward to is a reversal pattern within this area, especially on the lower time frame. It could be a reversal pattern, it could be a sharp rejection of this area. Then we take advantage of that bearish move to the downside with a take profit target, as we have identified yesterday, between the $84 area and the $85 area as a take profit target. So let's see how price is going to play out during the New York session on the US oil. It's unfortunate that the US oil, we've not been able to take we've not been very active on the US oil this week, but it's okay. It's not every time the market does what we want or does what we expect, and this is one of those scenarios that we need to we are finding ourselves. So we need to manage our emotions at this point. We don't want to get too disappointed or too emotional about the scenario we have here. So patience is very, very required at this point. So let's see how price is going to play out during the New York session. Like I said, we are waiting for price to come back into structure, after which we are going to be looking for reversal patterns on lower time frame to join the decline to the downside. So on the US oil, we'll keep our fingers crossed and continue to wait for that setup to happen so that we can join the decline. Any questions whatsoever on the US oil? If you have any, feel free to drop it in the comment section. So let's look at it and let's see if we can relate. Okay, 361 high. Hello. Dame 12. Ralph, hi. How are you? Good morning to you. Okay, so let's see if we have any questions regarding the US oil, and if there is none, we'll move on to the next pair. So I'll be waiting. I'll hold on for like 10 to 15 seconds to see what happens. Okay, in the absence of no questions, let's move on to the next pair. And the next pair we are going to be looking at is the US Tech. Remember on the US Tech, we were profitable on Monday. We had this move to the upside here. We took advantage of this move where we were able to make over 300 pips on two positions here on the US Tech. And right now, um, during the course of yesterday's live session, we were able to identify this channel where price was caught within for over, I think, 15 hours, giving us a clue into the indecision on the market. And one thing I said here, we actually pictured two scenarios that we were looking forward to here on the US Tech. And the first scenario is that if we do have a breakout of the structure, then we're looking forward to a retest to join the decline, to the rally to the upside. Then the other scenario we looked at is that if we see price breakdown of that structure, which actually happened, I told you that I will be mindful of taking any selling momentum even if I see a breakdown, as this could be a retracement of the previous impulse leg that happened here. That is this impulse leg here and this impulse leg before that impulse leg. So it's likely going to be a retracement of that impulse leg. And one thing I said yesterday was that if we have price come back, break down, and probably come back into the key level at $13,500, we want to be taking the bullish momentum, which we actually going to have taken at this point, and price went all the way to $13,725 before we saw that bearish momentum that happened. So on this one, we had about 200 pips, though it was very close to our take profit target. But definitely you would have you would have taken some profit at this point. So definitely, if one price moved significantly in our direction, you'll have taken profit. And if you did not take profit, probably you would have locked your profit at break even. But if you had locked your profit at break even, you are still going to be profitable on this trade, as price is still within our profit zone with about 38 pips right now. So on the US Tech at this point, going into the New York session, what are we seeing? Are we going to be having change of plans? So let's take a look at the structure we have here. So we still have that consolidation phase between the 13,600 and the $13,680 level, and though we've been seeing breakdown to the downside, giving us a clue into the strength of the sellers at this juncture in the market. So in the last 24-48 hours, we've been seeing selling momentum from this area. So definitely it's very likely that we could be changing our bias on this one, but we won't be jumping into that conclusion at this point just by looking at what is happening on the 1 hour time frame. So if you're still in this trade, definitely you would have moved your stop loss to break even at this point, as we continue to see this bearish momentum. And if you are taking advantage of the move yesterday, I'm very sure you would have closed with about 100 pips thereabout. So let's see what we are going to be looking forward to during the New York session today. So what we want to be doing here is to scale up to a higher time frame. So let's go as far as the daily time frame to see what is happening here. So on the daily time frame, like we said, we have a scenario where price has been on a downtrend scenario. We see how price has consistently respected that bearish trend line. And one interesting thing that happened during on the 10th of August, that is this month, we saw this breakout of structure, giving us a sign that price does not intend to respect that bearish trend line anymore. So with a breakout of structure, and we all understand that from our technical perspective, if we see a breakout of structure like this, then we should be anticipating further confirmation that price is going to the upside in the form of a retest of structure. So we have two areas we want to be looking forward to a retest. That is price to come back into the bullish trend line here, or we could be having price come back to do a retest of that bearish trend line that was broken on the 10th of August. So if price comes back, then we want to be looking for reversal patterns here on lower time frame to join the rally to the upside. So now that we begin to see bearish momentum on the 1 hour time frame, so is it possible that we could take that move to the downside? That's correction move to the downside. We never can tell where it's going to get to. Is it going to get to this bullish trend line before we see the reversal to the upside, or is it going to go as far as coming down into the bearish trend line before we see that reversal pattern happening? So let's scale a little bit lower to probably the 3 hours time frame to see what structure we have here on the 3 hours time frame. So if we go to the 3 hours time frame, what do we have? Now it begins to look more like a reversal pattern already forming right here on the 3 hours time frame. And what do we have here? Look at what happened. Let's delete this. We have this impulsive move to the upside that began last week. Was it last week? Yeah. And we saw this move as soon as price tested the $13,700 area. We saw multiple rejections of this level. The price came back down again, went back into the same area. We saw multiple rejection, and price appears to be continuing to the downside. So what does this give us? What signal does this give us? You're right. It's giving us something that looks like a bearish momentum happening at this point in time. And if we look at the structure this is forming, it's forming a very strong reversal pattern, which is in the form of a double top structure. We have one here, we have the second one here, and we have our neckline right at around. Let's see where the neckline is. So be more precise, we bring out our line chart and let's reconnect. So we are going to be readjusting our key level to fit into that neckline at this point. So we have a neckline right around the 13,000. Let's see where that is. 13,500. Is it 13,000? 13,550 appears to be most appropriate at this point. So let's relabel this this key level. So now we have readjusted our key level from where it was before to fit into the neckline of that reversal pattern that we just identified here on the 3 hours time frame. So now that we have a structure to play around with, and if you look at this neckline that we just identified here, very perfect one, as it has been a major determinant of price action in the past. If we look at what happened on the 11th of August, we saw a sharp rejection here by the sellers that pushed price to the downside. So it's very likely that this area is going to be a selling niche for participant going forward. So now that we have identified that we have a reversal pattern here, give me a moment. Let's make this more clearer. So we have, hold on a second. Let's draw this out. So we have a supply zone here. So we have a supply zone here. Hold on. I want to place it right inside. So we have a supply zone here, and we have a neckline here. So once we hold on, before I do that, I want to. So we have a double top, a reversal pattern here, a double top structure. So we have a reversal pattern there. So once we have identified that we have a reversal pattern, what is going to be our expectation? Well, from a theoretical perspective, we look at a reversal pattern like this. We saw the first touch, we saw the second touch here, then we expect price to do a breakdown of the neckline, where we want to be looking forward to a retest of structure on lower time frame to join the decline. So right now that we are heading into the New York session, we need to scale down to a much lower time frame to see how price action is relating with this key level at $13,550 level. So let's see what is happening. So let's scale down to a 15 minutes time frame. I want to see what is happening at the micro level. So right now we're on the 15 minutes time frame, and we've already witnessed the breakdown of the neckline here. So now what I'll be advising at this point, there are two ways to trade this right now. We already have the breakdown of the neckline. And one thing I want to be saying is if we see price come back into the neckline at this point, you might want to be taking that move to the downside from here. Or there are two ways, like I said, you could take this move right now from below this neckline so that you can recoup some money for the week, or we could wait. And looking at it from a long-term perspective, we could wait to see the close of this candle. So we want to see the close of this candle. We see our price breaks down this area. We want to see close of this candle. We want an engulfing candle. Then we wait for the retracement face back in such a way that price does a retest of the structure. Then we look out for reversal patterns on lower time frame to join the decline. So there are two ways to take advantage of this. You can actually take it right away on the lower time frame, or you could wait. If you're a long-term perspective, you would want to wait to see. Sorry, if you're a long-term trader rather, you might want to wait for price to do a significant breakdown of that key level, after which that's a signal. Then we wait for confirmation in the form of a retest of that structure. Then we can join the decline to the downside. And if that finally happens, where will our take profit target be? Well, first of all, what I'll be suggesting here is that, remember, we have this bullish trend line. Let's scale up to the 4 hours time frame here. Let's scale up to the 4 hours time frame. Okay, we are on the 4 hours time frame, and we have this bullish trend line here after connecting the series of higher lows since on the 14th of July. Let's bring out our line chart once again, and let's reconnect that level so that we I think something like this is okay. And then we make readjustment on our candle chart. So we have something like this. Now let's scale down to the 1 hour time frame back again, since we already identified that bullish trend. So what I want to be doing here, where will our take profit target be? Well, in the meantime, our take profit target is going to be right above that bullish trend line, as we want to see how price is going to relate with that level. So how price relates with this level will now determine if we are going to continue to the downside. That is, if we finally see probably a consolidation phase around this area that send price crashing to the downside, that is breaking down that bullish trend line, then we could be looking forward to a retest of structure to add more position to our existing trade or join the rally to the downside. Then the next take profit target zone will be right on this level here at the $13,000 area, and that is the bearish trend line we identified on the daily time frame. Let's see what happened on the daily time frame so that we can see that bearish trend line I was talking about. So we see this is the bearish trend line I'm talking about here. So remember, this is where we are actually, this is the last point where we are waiting for that bullish momentum to continue, since we already have the breakout of that bearish trend line. So let's see how price is going to play out during the New York session. So we already have two perspectives for selling opportunities here on the US tech. Mind you, we're not looking for any bullish momentum right here, as we identify this multiple rejection of the 13,700 area, giving us excuse me, a clue into the strength of the sellers at this point in time. So in the meantime, we'll be aiming at about 250 pips move first of all, and if we see our price relate with this level, then we could be aiming further if price breaks further to the downside. So that's that on the US tech. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to drop it in the comment section. You can ask me any question whatsoever on this pair. So I'll be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to see if we have any question regarding what I just discussed so far. So let's see what's happening on the charts. Okay, I have a lot of hi here, a lot of good jobs here. Okay, thank you, Trungan. All right. Hello everyone. Hello Makir Jehar. 616886. I see you guys. 741, I see you. 876. Okay. All right. Someone is laughing here. Oh, Streamroller is here again today. Good morning, Streamroller. How are you? Steamroller. I used to call you Stream. I never knew Steam. Okay, Steamroller, good morning to you. How are you doing today? Hope you're well. I'm very well, thank you. Happy to be here again. I'm excited to find you here. I'm looking forward to your ideas on AUD. Of course, we are going to be treating the AUDUSD. I think AUDUSD is next after the US tech. So we're going to be looking at AUDUSD still doing well on the bearish perspective, and we are still within our demand zone anyways, but we'll look at it. So what's up, Mexico 101? All right, Vietnam, what you play? Okay, hello worldwide trend, show the video here. You okay? I'm not sure I understand what that is. Okay, Steamroller. All right, so are there any questions whatsoever? Okay, I think in the absence of none, so let's move on to the next pair so that we can be able to cover most of the pairs we want to share today. So the next pair we are going to be looking at today is the AUD USD, and what is our expectation here? No, the first thing we want to do is to first of all look at what has happened so far on the AUD USD. The AUD has been moving massively well in our favor since the beginning of the week. Remember, I told you I took advantage of this move right from the break below of this neckline here, and I implored us to join me as I took that move. And right now, from that point in time, we are with about how many pips in profit right now? With over 130 pips in profit, and I think Steamroller is having more than that. Because I think it took it right from this point, so it's going to be about 150 pips in profit at this point in time. And on Tuesday, we were expecting a scenario here on Tuesday where we were looking forward to probably we could be having a reversal pattern here, that price is likely going to be respecting this bullish trend line to the upside, but we didn't see that happen, and we anticipated the breakdown of this very bullish trend line where a retest of structure should give us further confirmation to join the decline. And we joined the decline as well. And the first thing I told you yesterday was that since we see price running in our favor and we are right within this area, we saw multiple rejection during the course of yesterday, and we were very wary of that action. So I told you all to move your stop loss to right above this level around the 0.70 area. Is it around this area, right above this level? So we moved our stop loss right above this level, and price hasn't come back to our stop loss since then. So we had, even though price came a little close during the New York session yesterday, we had multiple rejection, and price continued to the downside from that point. So we are still very, very profitable on the AUD USD. And now that we have the scenario we have here, what is going to be our plans going forward? So what do we intend doing during the New York session? And before I go further, I want to give kudos to those who took advantage of this AUD USD move, and let's see what we are going to be doing going forward. Are we going to be continue to the downside, or is there a possible scenario where price will move to the upside from this point? So, well, the first thing I'll be doing here is this. The major first thing I'll be saying here is this: we want to lock in our profit on the AUD USD. We don't want to lose what we already earned here. So what we're going to do, we're going to be looking for structures, and if we look left, we can see that we have a structure around this area which has held price resisted in the past. We see one here, and we saw one around this point here. So between the 0.70 70200 area and the 0.69 850 890 area appears to be an area we want to be looking at. So let's look at the average of that point. So what we'll be doing here is that we should be moving our stop loss to somewhere right below this point. So let's move our stop loss close to this area right now. So we're locking some more profit, hereby protecting our position against any sudden pull-ups that could happen from this point. Remember, we were able to identify this buying zone here. So let's see, right above this 0.70120 is most appropriate to lock in our profits at this point. So now let's see what's going to be happening during the New York session today. What is our expectation today? The first thing we do is to scale up to the higher time frame. What is happening on the higher time frame? What structures do we have? What patterns do we have? What do we want to be looking forward to? Let's delete this. Let's have a clean chart. Okay. So now we still have this impulsive move. We still have this impulse leg. It's still very valid. And I want to see this move as a retracement phase of this impulse leg at this point in time. And we still don't know when this retracement phase is going to end. And in anticipation of when it's going to end, we actually identified a buy zone, which is right within our golden zone area. That is after running our Fibonacci retracement tool through the previous impulse leg. Here we identify between the 50 and the 78.6% as our golden zone. So let me readjust it right now. So our golden zone is now between the 618 and the 78.6, and the reason why that is simply because the 50 is no longer relevant at this point, as we already have significant breakdown of the 50% level. So let's delete the retracement tool. So right now we are within the buy zone here, and what our expectation is going to be like from this point is that we are going to be looking forward to reversal patterns around this point. It could be your inverse head and shoulder pattern, something like this. We could be looking forward to a reverse head and shoulder pattern within this area, or it could be a double bottom structure, or whatever that is. It could be your rising wedge, falling wedge rather, whatever reversal pattern that supports a bullish continuation to the upside. That is one scenario there. Then the other scenario is this. If we look left, we can see that we have this impulsive move that took price out of the bearish structure that we identified on the higher time frame. So for those who missed our explanation on this on Monday, let's zoom out into the daily time frame so that we can see that bearish trend line we were able to identify on the higher time frame. So we can see how price has been respecting this bearish trend line since the month of April. We saw the first rejection, second rejection, then we saw the breakout of the structure here. So, and from a technical perspective, whenever we see a breakout of structure, we expect price to come back and do a retest of that structure to give us further confirmation of a trend continuation to the upside. So we have two scenarios here. We already identify probably a retest of this level at 0.69500 area, or price could even go as far as coming down to do a retest of this bearish trend line here. So these are the scenarios we are looking forward to. So this bearish move, we still don't know when this bearish move that we're witnessing right now is going to end. So, but one thing I observed here on the 4 hours time frame is this. We found a high here. We saw a higher low here, and we saw this move. So we don't know how this is going to move. So what I'll be doing here is to connect the higher lows together to have a major bullish trend line around this point. So let's have a bullish trend line here. That is what I observed here on the 4 hours time frame. We have a bullish trend line here. So let's see how price action is going to relate with this level during the New York session today. Are we going to have a rejection of this level, or is price going to break down this level? And in fact, if price breaks down this level, then we will be extending our TP target to this bearish trend line that we identify on the daily time frame. So let's bring our candle chart back. So we have a bullish trend line here already. Hold on a second. Let's readjust this to fit into these wicks that we saw here. Okay. So right now, price has done a test of the bullish trend line here, And right now this one is no longer valid, so we are deleting this. We no longer need that so that we don't have a cluttered chart. So now we have price testing that bullish trend line here. So what we want to be looking forward to is to see how price is going to relate with this level. So are we going to be having a rejection of this level that push price to the upside, or are we going to be seeing a breakdown of this level? And mind you, if a breakdown happens, then we are looking forward to this area as our take profit target. So this is my scenario here. So for those who are still in this trade, please hold on to your trade. Move your stop loss to where we've identified here around the 0.70100 area, and let's scale down to the 15 minutes time frame, to a lower time frame, to see how price is relating with this level before I move on to the next pair. So that's okay. So on the 15 minutes time frame, we're still very bearish. So we still really don't have a structure yet on the 15 minutes time frame. So we want to let's adjust our stop loss, please. With the structure we have here on the 15 minutes time, let's adjust our stop loss to 0.70. Yes, 0.70 is fine. Above 0.700 is fine for our stop loss. And the reason why that is because of the structure where I saw here. We have a support zone here. Oh, sorry. We have a support zone here. And so I'm thinking right above that level is appropriate. It's likely price is going to come back into this area. So if price comes back into this area, for those who are yet to join this trade, if price comes back into this level somewhere around here, and we see multiple rejections of this level, it could be a double top structure, you might want to join that decline. And that's a short-term trade anyway. That's like how many pips? That's like 50 pips thereabout. Our take profit target is going to be within the buy zone that we identified earlier. So that is my scenario here on the AUDUSD. So let's see how price action plays out during the New York session today. And okay, my own take profit target is around this area, 0.69250. That's where my take profit target is. So let's see what happens. So that's my scenario here on the AUDUSD. Are there any questions whatsoever? I'll be taking the next 10-15 seconds to look at let's see what happens here. So next 10-15 seconds, I'll be looking at the charts to see if we have any questions whatsoever. Okay. Hi Max, good morning. How are you? Steamroller. Okay, you took profit 133 pips. Good. It's okay. You're still on the right path. Let's see. I'm still in this trade anyway. I just moved my stop loss to I moved my stop loss right above the 0.701 area. That is around this area. Around this area here. That's where my stop loss is. And by the end of this session, I will be moving my stop loss to right above 0.70. I still have my take profit target within the buy zone here. So let's see what happens. Yes, we are waiting for potential reversal on the AUDUSD within this area. So let's see what happens here. Let's see how price relates with this bullish trend line. If we have a reversal pattern here, then we get ready to join the rally to the upside. So Jack Tribe, hi, good morning, how are you? Okay, thank you for that compliment, Steamroller. I appreciate. Thank you very much. So that is that on the AUDUSD. So let's move on to the next pair, which is the USDJPY. On the USDJPY, we are still it's still very dicey for me on the USDJPY. Actually, those who took the bullish momentum would have made a lot of money, but for us here, we're still waiting for that bearish move. And one thing I made mention of yesterday was that if I finally see a final breakout of this bearish trend line here, and then I want to be thinking of buying the USDJPY, but yet I'm still yet to see something significant. I'm here to see something significant right above the bullish trend line. So let's go up to the 4 hours time frame. Let's take a quick look at what our structure looks like from the higher perspective and how we intend planning against the New York session today. So the first thing we did here on the 4 hours time frame is to identify this bearish structure after connecting the series of lower highs. So we had this first touch here, we had a second touch, we had a third touch, and then we saw a reversal pattern right below this level. Remember, we took about 250 pips move here during the course of last week trading session, and we want to be seeing this move as a retracement phase of that previous impulse leg, as we're actually expecting price to do a reversal pattern right around the bearish trend line at this point, which also shares a confluence with our 134.650 level, which has been our key level since the beginning of the week. And right now, price is right around that bearish trend line and around the key level as well, which is where our supply zone is, where our selling window is. So we want to see how price is going to relate with this level. Sincerely speaking, I'm actually waiting for a reversal pattern within this point to be able to sell the USDJPY. So I'll be advising that we remain patient on this one. Let's remain patient and see how price is going to relate with this level. For me to buy the USDJPY, I have to see a significant breakout of the structure. I want to see a significant breakout of the structure, then price comes back to do a retest of the key level or probably the bearish trend line here with patterns on lower time frame that supports a trend continuation to the upside. So if that does not happen, I still hold on to my bearish momentum here. And if we look at the key level we identified here at the 134.650 level, we can see that it served also as the neckline of the reversal pattern that appeared on the chart last week. And this is the reversal pattern we saw last week. We saw the double top structure here and we saw the breakdown of that structure. Then I'm expecting price to come back and do a retest of that structure, which I told you earlier shares a confluence with the bearish trend line here and also the key level at 134.650. So what I'm looking forward to is still a reversal pattern from this point, and if price goes down, a breakdown retest of this bullish trend line gives me further confirmation to join the decline to the downside. So the USDJPY is still something, it's still a bearish perspective that we are looking forward to. Let's just be patient to wait for our price relate with this level, and whatever happens, we should be prepared to take advantage of that. Let me come again on this one. For the bearish momentum, I'm expecting a reversal pattern here to happen so that I can join the decline to the downside. And if we see an outright breakout of this bearish trend line, that is the red line on your screen, then that's a signal that we are going bullish. Then one thing I want to be doing is to wait for confirmation in the form of a retest of either the key level or the bearish trend line to take advantage of that bullish move. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens at this point. So this is my scenario here. If you have any question here on the USDJPY, feel free to drop a word or two in the comment section, and let's see how we can help each other in preparation for the New York session. So I'll be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to read through the chat to see if you have any questions. If you have, please feel free, drop a word or two in the comment section. Okay, 954. All right. I want to assume your comment good means you understand what we are talking about here. All right. In the absence of no question, let's take on the, I think, XAUUSD. Let's see. This is likely going to be the last pair for today. Let's see if so on the XAUUSD, things have been moving accordingly. The bearish momentum has continued. However, The bearish momentum has continued. We saw, hold on a second, let me delete this and this. Yes, okay, on the XAUUSD, we took this bearish move from the $1,785 level 2 days ago, and price has been oscillating right below that level. And during the course of yesterday's trading session, I told you to move your stop loss to break even. That is right around the $1,785 level, which price hasn't gone back to that point. So if you are still in this trade, you will be with about a thousand two hundred pips in profit at this point in time. And one thing again we saw that gave us more clue into a possible downtrend scenario is that we saw a rejection of this bearish trend line to give us further confirmation of a move to the downside. So if you have added more position to your trade at this point, then kudos to you again for identifying that opportunity to take that move. Then during the course of yesterday's trading session, I made mention of a scenario here where I was seeing this area as a demand niche for participants in this market as price action continued to reject this area. For some time, we've been seeing multiple rejection of this level prior to our session yesterday. But one thing that happened that negated all any demand opportunity here was the breakdown of this area. So we had this breakdown of this area during the New York session. I think at the beginning of the New York session yesterday, we saw this significant move to the downside, hereby negating this demand zone. So we negate that demand zone at this point, as we can see that price has continued to respect that bearish trend line to the downside. So let's see how price goes on. So there's nothing to say here on the XAUUSD. The only thing I'll just say is this: for those who have actually took this move from the $1,785 level, you want to be moving your stop loss to somewhere around here at this point to lock in some profit. Somewhere around here seems most appropriate. That is $1,778, right above the $1,778 appears to be a very comfortable place to place your stop loss at this point. So that is going to be about how many pips that is. That's going to be about 650 thereabout. So let's see what happens afterwards. Then if we see a breakdown of the zone, then a retest again should give us confirmation to add more position to our existing trade. So going into the New York session, this bearish trend line here, the red line here on your screen, will be serving as our yardstick. So we continue to use this bearish trend line as our yardstick. If price breaks above the bearish trend line, then we want to assume that the momentum is about to shift. So if we continue to see multiple rejections of this level, then we want to be joining the decline to the downside on the XAUUSD. So that is my scenario here on the XAUUSD. Then the other scenario that we might likely be looking forward to is a possible breakout of that structure. So if we at any point have a breakout of this bearish trend line, then that's likely going to be a signal that we want to be going bullish. But since we already have a structure at the $1,785 level, I'm of the opinion that this could probably be a retest of structure, though we already had a retest of structure in the past. So one thing I want to see here is that if we see a breakout of this bearish trend line here, and price comes back to do a retest of that structure with a reversal pattern on lower time frame, we want to join a rally to the upside. And if we see further breakout of the $1,785 level, then a breakout retest of that structure should give us further confirmation to add more position to our existing trade. But if none of this happened, that is, if we didn't see a breakout of this bearish trend line, we continue to maintain our bearish bias on this one. So that is that on the XAUUSD. If you have any question whatsoever, let me know so that I can shed more light if need be. Okay, so let's look at the charts and see what is happening in the charts. All right, Chinom, okay, 587. Oh, Pep 80, good morning. How are you today? Okay, same roller. Okay, you're very welcome. I enjoy your day too as well, and good luck. Thank you. Thank you very much, same roller. So, should we do a recap? Should we go ahead and do a recap of what we've talked about? Okay, I feel you, steamroller. Should we go ahead and do a recap of what we have discussed so far today? All right, so let's quickly do a recap of, or let me share with you one more pair I'm looking at. Should I do that? All right. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm actually looking at GBPCAD. I'm already in this trade already. Um, on the GBP card, despite the fact that we are on a very strong bearish momentum, I'm looking forward to taking advantage of a bullish momentum here, and the reason is simply because of this. Now, if we look at what is happening on the 4 hours time frame, we can see our price has been rejecting that bearish trend line since the beginning of the month of August. We saw multiple rejection of that level, but one thing I noticed was that the expansion from the retest of this bearish trend line continued to reduce. We can see that this one is lesser than the previous one here, and then as soon as price retested this one too was lesser than this one, and this gives me a clue that the bullish momentum the bearish momentum on the GBP card is reducing. And the other scenario I also saw here is the structure that looks like a double bottom structure, which from a technical perspective is a very strong reversal pattern. So we saw the first retest of this 1.5790 area. Price came back into this place, then found a higher low, forming something like a double bottom structure. And right now price is right above my key level identified at 1.55700 area. And the reason why I identified a key level at 1.5570 area is simply because of this. If we look into the past, we can see how this level has been a major determinant of price action, and most especially during the month of July, it has been a selling niche for participants in this market. We can see how it has consistently been rejected by the sellers, and when we saw the outright breakout of this level during the later part of the month of July, the level also served as a demand niche for participants in the market, pushing price to the upside. Then we continue to see how this area has been holding price, either rejecting the price or pushing the price to the upside. So because of this, I was able to identify this key level around this area at 1.55700 area. And when I saw the second breakout of this key level here, I took on the lower time frame, I took advantage of this move right above the key level at 1.5570 area. So one thing I'm doing here is to I've already entered this trade, and I'm looking forward to a further breakout of this bearish trend line. So one thing if I see a breakout of this bearish trend line and price comes back to do a retest of this trend line or probably the key level here, I want to add one more position to my existing trade. In the meantime, I have my take profit target at the 1.57 area, and the reason why that is this. If you look left, you can see how this area has held price resisted by the sellers as price action. Whenever price comes into this area, we see selling opportunities. So because of this point, I was able to put my take profit target around this area. So let's say our price action will relate with that level. If we have a breakout retest of that structure, then we could be thinking of adding more position to our existing trade. So on this one, we have about 120 pips to catch here. So if you are not in this trade, you might want to join now, or probably you wait for price to break out. So we already have a breakout already. Do a retest, then you could join the rally to the upside. So that's down GBPCAD. So let's quickly run through the pairs we deliberated on today. So the first pair we looked at today was the US oil, and despite the fact that we are expecting that bearish move, that bullish move yesterday, the breakdown of that structure gave us a clue of the strength of the sellers at this point in time. So what I was saying today was that we want to wait for price to come back and do a retest of this of a structure so that we can join the decline to the downside. But with what I'm seeing at this point in time, let's bring out our line chart to actually see through this consolidation phase here. So we have this consolidation phase around this point. So with this consolidation phase here, and we scale down to a 15 minutes time frame, I think we begin to see that we have a temporary bullish trend line that appears to have been broken. So if this continues like this, right below the $86.50, is it $86.60 area, right below this level, so that is if price decides not to go further to the upside, right below this level appears to be an area to be looking for selling momentum here. So let's see what happens during the New York session on this one. I'm looking at the structure we have here. I'm looking at the pattern this is forming. You know what? I will suggest you pass this trade. Let's wait for price to come back into the $89 level to give us further confirmation to join the decline to the downside. If that does not happen, please let's leave this trade alone. The reason why I'm saying that is simply because we are still within a very strong demand zone, and we are seeing multiple rejections of this level again at this point. We saw this one, and this is a lower high, as higher low rather, and because of that, I want to suggesting that we wait. Let's hold on to this trade. Let's wait for price to give us a good confirmation, and if that does not happen, we'll pass this trade and look forward to tomorrow to see what happens. So now we moved on to the US tech, and on the US tech, I told you how a selling opportunity is more visible here, and we were able to look at it from a higher perspective. We went on to the higher time frame where we were able to identify the current structure in the market at this point, as we continue to see, as we saw multiple rejection of the 13,750 level, giving us a clue into the strength of the participants in this market. And when we identified that, we saw that we have a reversal pattern here, and we have our neckline sitting at $13,550 level. So what I was saying was that since we already have a reversal pattern, we want to wait for a signal to join the decline. So we had the first touch, we had the second touch, and we're expecting a breakdown of this key level from a long-term perspective, where we will be, after we see a breakdown, that's a signal. Remember, we are not getting too excited at the sight of a signal. We want to wait for price to give us further confirmation in the form of a retest of structure, after which we look out for patterns on lower time frame that supports a trend continuation to the downside. So this is the scenario we're looking forward to, and our take profit target is right on this bullish trend line here. And in the meantime, that's where our take profit target is going to be. And if we do have a breakdown of that trend line, then a retest of structure should give us further confirmation to add more position to our existing trade. So that's the scenario we're looking forward to on the US tech. Then we went on to talk about the AUDUSD, where the selling momentum on this one appears to still be very, very strong at this point. And the first thing I said is this: remember, we were able to take this move right from this point, and currently we are running with about 140 pips in profit on the AUDUSD. So what I said, the first thing I said here is to move your stop loss to somewhere around the 0.69990 area, right above that area so that you can lock in your position, and let's see how price action is going to relate with this level. Remember, we have a buy zone here, and that buy zone aligns with the bullish trend line we were able to identify here after connecting the series of higher low at this point. So we connected this, and right now price is right within that level. So we want to see how price is going to relate with this level. So what we are going to be doing here is to wait. If we are going to be buying, then we wait to see a reversal pattern here. It could be a double bottom structure, it could be an inverse head and shoulder pattern. Whatever reversal pattern it is, a breakout retest of structure on lower time frame should give us a confirmation to join the rally to the upside on the AUDUSD. Remember, our take profit target is still right here at 0.69250 area. So let's see if price is still going to continue to the downside from that point. So let's keep our fingers crossed for any buying opportunity here. And then we moved on to the USDJPY, where I told you that an outright breakout of this bearish trend line and a retest of the structure will give me a confirmation to join the rally to the upside. And based on the current structure we have here on the 4 hours time frame on the USDJPY, is still looking very, very bearish, as after connecting the series of lower highs at this point, we were able to see this bearish trend line. And with this bearish trend line here, price is right back within that bearish trend line again. So we don't know how price is going to relate with this level in the next couple of hours. So if we see reversal pattern around this area, then we want to join the decline at the site of F1 on a lower time frame. We want to join the decline here. But if a breakout retest of structure happen, then we want to be leaning towards a bullish momentum on the USDJPY. Then the last pair we talked about today is the XAUUSD, where I told those who took advantage of this move right from the 1785 level to move their stop loss to right above the $1,777 level, right above, so that they can lock in some profit, so that if anything happens in form of a sudden pullback, we don't get our position exposed to the sudden risk. So this is our scenario here. We're still holding on our bearish momentum here on the XAUUSD, and to guide our action during the New York session, I was able to identify this bearish trend line that we will be using, as if we continue to see multiple rejection of this level, we want to be adding more position to our existing trade. So if we see rejection here on lower time frame, look out for patterns on lower time frame to add more position to the trade. And if at any point in time we see a breakout of that level, then we want to be considering that there is a momentum shift at this point, and a retest of structure with reversal patterns on lower time frame will be supporting a bullish momentum on the XAUUSD. And then the last pair we deliberated on is the GBPCAD, where I told you I'm already in this trade. And for those who missed this opportunity right from the key level at 1.55700 area, I told you that you might want to be waiting for a further breakout of that bearish trend line, after which a retest of the trend line should give us further confirmation to join the rally. So if we see a breakout retest with reversal patterns on lower time frame, we could join the rally to the upside with the take profit target sitting right around the 1.57 area, simply because this area has been a selling niche for participants in the market. So on this note, I would like to call it a day, and let's see what happens during the New York session today. So we had like how many pairs today? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pairs to look out for during the New York session today. And one thing I'll be saying is that please be on standby to be able to catch those moves when they finally happen. And one more thing, if you see a signal, we don't want to get too excited at the sight of a signal, because we want to wait for price to give us further confirmation in the form of a retest of structure, after which we look for patterns on lower time frame that support the direction that we are going. So on this note, I want to wish us all a good day and best of luck during the New York session. Bye bye.